Hello again, gamers and gamettes, and welcome to another episode of Not So Hardcore Gaming. I'm your host, Jeremy, and today we're discussing Sims 4. Now, I like to talk about a wide variety of games, so, as I'm sure you could guess by previous episodes, and this is one that I wanted to do for a while, but there's so much content to do that I had to play it quite a bit, and really part of it is finding the time in, because I've got a lot of other games at the same time that I need to play. So I've been playing it here and there, and I've got a good enough idea to tell you my views on it, what I think it does well, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Firstly, as always, visuals and audio. Now, obviously, I can't talk about the visuals and audio in the same way as I do for other games. There's not really any voice acting. There aren't a major amount of sound effects, so there's not as much a wide variety. And in terms of visuals, the way it's set, obviously it can't quite live up to other games, but in terms of visuals, obviously because it's a simulator, it's kind of cartoony, which is part of the charm, to be honest. But the bit I found surprising as well is it actually does have resolution. Different levels of it, which will affect it slightly. But it looks smooth. The character designs, it's good to look at. And that's obviously such a good thing. And as I said, there are limits to where it can be, but looking at it, it's got that cartoony charm, and it looks good enough that you can enjoy playing it. And obviously the biggest part when it comes to visuals is all the different customization options. Just when it comes to your own Sims that you create, there is a huge amount of customization you can do. You can edit arm size individually, obviously. You can customize the body in a lot of different ways, that you can create 1,000 different ones and they'll all look different. There are a lot of hairstyles in it. There's even tattoos and piercings, those sort of things, which is a really cool detail. While I myself am not particularly tattooed, I've got one tattoo, I do love the look of tattoos, and the different designs that it has I quite like. So I wanted to give that a brief mention, that, it's pretty cool to have tattoos, but obviously after that you've got a bunch of different outfits, and there are heaps of customization options for that. You obviously also have different costumes there. You'll have like a formal wear, a sleepwear, work uniform, that sort of thing. And it allows you to give your own little flair to it. And obviously, like, for a lot of people who play Sims, they will create their Sim in their image and live the life they would if they could in real life, because real life is not a game. And it's good to have that to begin with, but then you go weird and wacky things, and it just adds a whole new element of fun for it. And this is just the character customization options. When it comes to your houses, building your own house is very, very fun. There's a lot of different furniture bits you can get, which is also fun upgrading to better and better cookingware, that sort of thing. That alone is good, but in terms of looks, there are a lot of different ways you can make your house look good. There is a huge array of floor patterns, wallpapers. You can have carpet or tiled or anything like that, and it really is just one good for when you have your imagination. You can make it look like anything, and you can change it anytime you want. It just costs a little bit. You know what I mean? So I love to appreciate the potential when it comes to it. So, as I said, the visuals are obviously different there, but there's so much more potential because of how many different packs they've involved in it. and all of them look good. They look cartoony, but fun, and it works. So again, visually, this is it works perfectly for it. I couldn't imagine any other way. When it comes to the audio, obviously there's not as much there. And sometimes if your PC is a bit slower and you're loading, you're stuck with the same tune, and it gets in your ear a little bit, and it's like trying to scratch a little itch. And so some of it can get to you after a while, but depending on what mood your character is in, it can change a little bit. So there's enough that it will change here and there. So it's not as much as I would like, and as I said, some of it can grate on your ears a little bit, but in terms of audio, I don't have major complaints. When your characters are talking, you can, first of all, customize your own voices, which is small, but it's there. And I do like that as you fast forward, it actually does change the pitch of how they're speaking. That's just a nice little detail, which is obvious when you think about it, that it has to have that. But I like to mention, that it does have that, and appreciate that. So yeah, audio, as I said, it could be better, but it's enjoyable to that degree. Moving on to the next bit, obviously gameplay. I like simplicity when it comes to most games. And again, this is very simple. It's point and click, interact with different objects. But it's a case of you click on an object and you have different ways you can interact with it. So you can put your own personality into it. With the gameplay, very, very simple, easy to grasp, but there's a lot of potential for how you can do things. And you can, if you want, create multiple Sims, leave some of them to roam themselves, whatever else. And I know there's a fair few out there who like to, for example, put their Sims in a pool and then remove the ladder. Sure, you could do that, but I myself wouldn't do that. But, I thought I'd better briefly mention that. So I said, the gameplay, it's simple, there's a lot you can do with it. And if they made it too much more complicated, it just wouldn't be as fun. So there's little to talk about for the gameplay, but it's perfect for the game it is. Moving on, features. I spoke a little bit with customization and how there are a lot of different packs. They're coming out with new packs a lot, and I'll give you a few of my favorites because this is part of the features for it. You've got, first of all, the cats and dogs, and I'll talk a little bit more about a couple of things I've had with that. So you can adopt a cat, you can adopt a dog, and where you can train them, you can interact with them in various ways. Then you've got a magic pack where you can actually go and learn spells. You can participate in magic duels, that sort of thing. And while a lot of the packs you have will be, there's like city living where it will bring a new world to work with and new customization options. But here and there they have one which really adds a lot to it. It even now has vampires, which is just, once again, a cool little detail. There's those special few which just make it a little bit sweeter, Another one I very much enjoy is the Get to Work pack. And that allows you to, in a few select jobs, actually go with them. And, for example, the scientist route. Now, I knew about this from YouTubers that I watch. And in it was Dan and Phil, for those wondering. In it, their character was a scientist, and I found that's what I first wanted to go to, so I could experience the Get to Work as well. And there were a lot of features you can do in it, and then when you get higher in, and this is another part of the features, you can actually go to an alien world. And that first of all, is really cool. It's small, but it's got a lot of design to it, and I enjoy that. So as I said, every pack brings more features to it, and there's a lot of character in each one. And while I'm saying the features here, they keep evolving, so there'll be more and more added, and that is what's good about this game, is it continues to change. There's more brought into it frequently, and that just makes the game so much better. So I think that's one of the best features of it, is that it's constantly evolving, so there's always other content to experience, and that's just from what EA has done. I know there are people who have a community, they'll make special mods you can download. I haven't really done that, but that is one important aspect for it as well. There's a big community behind it, and while I personally haven't explored the mods, saying that, we're putting it out there that there are some of them, it's another good thing for it. And I know EA is not very well known for, working with their fans. They've made some real stinker moves before, but, it's good to have that community who likes to add to it. And I hope to one day take a look at what's out there, because there's obviously only so much EA can release, and that feature that you have other people who like to evolve the game, it really appeals, So that again, that's just a brief mention. I've spoken about a lot of it, and I know it's been quite quick, but really, there's not as much story, so there's a little bit less to talk about when it comes to the game, but it's one I wanted to share a little bit about. And the other thing I want to do is share a little bit about how I've done it, so you can get an idea for how I play things. So I hope, first of all, I've given you a good enough idea of the game itself, what I like about it. There's not really a lot I think it could do much better. I don't know. I know this sounds bad for someone who reviews games, but I'm usually not particularly critical. I'm the type of guy, for example, if other people hate a movie, I still enjoy it. I don't pay attention to what's wrong with it. The same happens with a game, so there's not a hell of a lot I can say would make the game better for what is out there. I haven't really run into many bugs. I have a lot of features that I can be playing it for a long time. There's a lot to do. As I said, there is a lot to do, and I can, for example, what I did with the science, I completed one career, got everything I could for it, and then I went to another career. And when you do that, you can keep on playing, keep on doing things differently. It gives you new interactions to do, that sort of thing. So it's one that keeps you playing it for a long time. And I would love to hear from you. If you have a reason you don't like the game, whatever else, please do let me know. But here I'll say a little bit about how I've done things, features I've enjoyed, whatever else. So, earlier in the episode, I mentioned about cats and dogs. Now, I think without this, the game wouldn't be nearly as good. Once they brought this out, it was made 10 times better. We all love having pets. If you're a cat person or a dog person, either way, having a pet around helps. You know what I mean? I personally do slightly prefer dogs to cats. I've always owned dogs, but I've also always owned cats, and I love both in great measure, but dogs are just my favorite out of the two, but that's real life. So in the game, when I started and I was first building my house, what I had done, I had made it so that stray dogs could stay at my property. And it was fun having interactions with them, having 3 dogs laying around the place, even though I changed it later, having the interaction with the dogs, it was that little thing that gives me a little sparkle in the eye. It goes after my heart. And when I changed things, I decided to adopt one of the strays. Her name was Frankie, and she was a beautiful girl. And the weird thing was, I actually got pretty attached to her. So, when that time came, and the reaper he reaped, I was genuinely very upset about it. And that's always something that appeals in a game is, you get attached to a character or something like that. And as I was genuinely very, very upset about it. And then I found out there is another feature which is part of a different pack. You can have ghosts. So you have ghosts of Sims who die, but you also have ghosts for the dogs. And I was sitting there and I was keeping every bit of attention I could until I found Frankie's ghost. And then, what you can do, and this actually genuinely amazed me, you can bring the ghost into your household. So now, little Frankie, she's still with me, but just a ghost. And I was elated. It made me so much happier than a game really should. So that's just one extra bit about it. Having ghosts, being able to interact with them, there's a whole gameplay system there, and it was really quite charming. It really added a hell of a lot to the game. So that's one of the biggest bits I kind of wanted to share with it. And yeah, it really just adds so much to the game, even just that one little part of it. That's probably my favorite bit that's happened so far. Now, as well as that, some of the other main achievements I've made through it, I was a scientist for a while, made it all the way to the level 10 of the science career. I upgraded all of my gadgets, so now I can go to an alien world whenever I want, and then I quit, just so I could go for a different thing. And one of the goals I have is to go through every career, reach level 10 with it, buy the room that you unlock from it, and I'm going to have a big underground base where I have all of my rooms corresponding to every job. And I know I'm still going to have fun with it because I enjoy every minute playing the game, and it gives you something further to go for, That's my future plans for it. At the moment, I'm an athlete's career, which, when I first ever played Sims, that's what I went with, because obviously, as I was talking about before, very disabled. Sports was not particularly my strong suit, so to speak. But if I were able to, I know I'd be running around all the time. I would be one of the sportiest people you'd know. So, when I first played it, what career did I go for? The sports. And it was good fun for it. I ended up top of the career, fittest Sim could be. And because I was younger when this happened, it was really good for me. And now that's the career I'm going for currently. As well as that, I've become a best-selling author on it, which was another dream when I was young. I wanted to be an author. I wanted to write books. I always loved Roald Dahl, for example. So writing was good, and through The Sims, I can get just that little bit of joy from it. Sounds silly, but so even just all the different varieties of careers you can have, I really, really love that. And obviously I can't speak about every bit. There are some features I haven't even fully explored yet. But I can get enough that I can get across to you how much I think this game does well. So I've spoken about some of the main experiences I have for it, and I've genuinely been really enjoying the game. And I greatly recommend playing it. Having all of the expansion packs is not what you would call cheap, but they really do add a lot. But even if you have just a base game, you can get hours of enjoyment from it. And I really hope you can give it a go if you haven't already. I think it is one of the best things EA has produced, maybe short of Plants vs. Zombies way back in the day. That was a whole game in itself, which I really should talk about at some point soon. But this is pretty much everything I can say for Sims. I've spoken some of the best features I have, some of my own experiences with it, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. It's a bit of a shorter episode, but it's one I've been wanting to release for a while, and I really hope you have enjoyed it. To give you a bit of an idea for games I should be able to talk about very soon, as I would have mentioned on my Instagram, if you haven't followed me there, it's Not So Hardcore Gaming. I post a lot of information about games I'm currently playing, and I also post gym content if that interests you. But very recently I got an Xbox One, so I now not only have PlayStation games but Xbox games. I've started playing I've played quite a bit of Minecraft, and I will talk about that at some point soon. I recently got Hollow Knight, which is one I know there's a really good community around, and since Bloodborne I've been really quite attracted to the difficult games, and they have the good charm in them, so I've been playing that, been enjoying it so far. We'll talk about it when I can. Also very soon, hopefully Forza Horizon 3. Where I live, Australia, we are not known for our fast internet, so getting things through, getting updates done, may take some time, but it is on the horizon. I will talk about it just as soon as I possibly can. And those are the main Xbox games, and I'm also very excited to start playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla more, and I will talk about that just as soon as I've finished it. So I've got a few different games that I'm playing, and we'll talk about just as soon as I possibly can. Do keep an eye out for that. And that's pretty much everything. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you next time.